Anytime you're shortcutting it, you're probably cheating some people. Players play. Tough players win.
What is going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us on another edition of the Centered Podcast. For those of you joining us for the first time, my name is Anthony Ianni, your host. I am a former Michigan State basketball player and the first Division I college basketball player in NCAA history diagnosed with autism. Now, for those of you joining us for the podcast today, thank you again for joining us. If you would like to hear more episodes of the Centered Podcast, you can check us out on iTunes, radio.com, and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts at. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Center Podcast, where you can see our full video interviews with our special guests as well. So today, special guest, this is a guy who I'm super proud, not only to call a friend, but a brother as well. Just an incredible human being, and it's Arthur Ray Jr. Arthur Ray Jr. is from Chicago, Illinois, played at Mount Carmel High School, where he was a top 50, top 60 offensive lineman in the nation. He had offers from anywhere from the Big 10 to the Big 12, the ACC, SEC. I'm talking like Michigan State, Illinois, Boston College, Kentucky, North Carolina State. But what I love about today's interview with Arthur is that this wasn't just a football story. It was more than that. This was a story. His story is about life and overcoming so many obstacles and challenges that one individual may just sit back and go, man, I can't do it anymore. But what I love about Arthur's story that you'll hear soon is that he failed so many times, but he kept getting back up. People doubted that he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. He kept getting back up. And I don't want to give too much of a story away because I think it's something that you listeners will definitely love to hear. And I think, in my opinion, and I'm not saying this because I'm his friend, because he's my brother, I think this is going to be one of the toughest episodes to top. And just a lot of emotions. You'll get chills and goosebumps listening to this. So I hope you guys enjoy our interview with former Michigan State football great. He is a legend, the one and only Arthur Ray Jr. So Art, when we talked about bringing you on the show a couple of days ago, I told you that we had to rename the show tonight specifically for us, where we're going to rename it the Lion's Den for the next 45, 50 minutes, because, for nobody knows this, you and I were roommates for a year, my first year back in Michigan State. And I remember, we were trying to get like posters for our apartment and everything. And the first thing you said was, we need a poster of lions in our living room. And I said, why is that? And you said to me, because this is the Lion's Den, man. Like hardworking lions, live here, man. And like that. I never forget that, man. So whenever you and I talk over the phone or like talk via text, whatever, we always mention the Lion's Den, man. That was our thing, man.
No, yeah, it was, man. That was right. That was my first apartment ever, like leaving Case Hall from States. But nah, that was a good time, man. That was fun for sure. 1618 East Spartan Village. East
Michigan. So basically, Arthur, what the show is, and I explain this with all my guests that come on. So this is basically just a talk show, man. Like there's no reporting or anything like that. It's just you and me having a good time, going back and forth, talking about your story, your career, where you're at today. And toward the end, I'm going to make it a little bit fun for you too, and I'll give you like a minute, 2 minute to have the floor by yourself for a positive message for the week for the listeners. But I want to get into you real quick, man. And just like, we've known each other for 12 years now. And we were roommates, I always wanted to know a little bit more about you. And you're a Chicago guy. And I'm a state of Michigan guy. You know that. I live out in by Detroit and Livonia. So I know all about Detroit, but like I've only been to Chicago so many times in my life, but you lived in Chicago. So kind of tell us what was it like growing up in Chi-Town, man, as a little kid?
Man, Chicago crazy, man. I'm a South Sider by trade. I grew up on the South Side of the city. So, it's one is everything you hear, good and bad. Mm-hmm. being a South Sider, growing up in the hundreds, we call it the hundreds in Chicago. It's rough. You see a lot of things. You see gang violence, guns, drugs, different stuff like that. Growing up playing ball was the move. Getting involved in sports. My dad being an ex minor league baseball player played a huge role with me and my brother, getting us involved in sports early. Baseball was the first sport I actually played. To be honest with you, around 13, I hung the bat up though, and picked the helmet up. But growing up in Chicago was it made me tough, gritty. My grandparents were there in the city as well. They were on the South Side, so I had a lot of close, tight knit family with me in the city, man. But overall, the good, downtown, living. I had a condo probably about 5 minutes from downtown in the UIC area, University Village by UIC. I had a condo there a couple years ago. Man, downtown's crazy. Downtown's beautiful. Great food, man. Tremendous people. True Midwest town. I think Chicago's the Mecca, in terms of the Midwest. And man, it's a great place. It's always home to me. The good and the bad. Because the bad made me tough, and it taught me life lessons early, and taught me how to maneuver and move myself as a man. And the good, enjoying the good side now that I'm older and an adult and I can move around a little bit. The nightlife is crazy in Chicago, and there's so much stuff to do with attractions and everything, man. It's a fun place to be.
So you mentioned the baseball part. Like, I didn't even know like you played baseball, and that's why I love having, my guests on. It's people that I've known for so long, and I didn't even know that about you. Like, I knew your little brother, who's still in the minor leagues, correct? Is he still in the minors?
Yeah, still in the minor leagues. He was double with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay, because I know your brother was a baseball player, but so was it always football and baseball with you growing up, or did you play basketball in there? Like, was it 3 sports up until probably your football career got serious?
No, it was baseball, and then I started playing football. I didn't start playing football until 13. Started playing football at 13. That was my first year. I was horrible too, but I got to high school and I started throwing. I was a thrower for track. I threw the shot put in the discus. My sophomore year, I came 3rd place in state throwing the discus, but I hung it up after that. I only did track to keep myself in shape during the off season of football, but that was all I did until my sophomore year. Then after sophomore year, heading into that junior summer, for the junior year, moving up to varsity and all that, I was all ball, all football.
So let's talk about when you first started playing football. Like you said, you flat out just said to me, I was horrible. So what did you do? Like maybe leading up to your sophomore year of high school, like what were some of the things you knew you had to work on? Some of the things you had to do, like, who gave you that advice? Okay, try to do this, try to do that, and see where it'll take your game from there.
You know what's crazy, man? I remember going out there and not knowing how to tackle, not knowing, I'm out there, hugging guys, to grab. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to play the game. But I got hit that first time, got knocked up, man, got rocked by a guy who had been playing, I'm around guys been playing, they 5, 6 years old, so they know the game, and I'm just learning. But no, it was something about the game that excited me, man. And my love for it was just sparked. Like I started studying it. I'd come home, back when you getting on YouTube, I'm watching old football games, just learning more. I'm intrigued by it. I became consumed, man. Obsessed is the word. I was obsessed. I remember 13, we probably played our 5th game. So college football starting too. So we watching, Midwest guy, Chicago guy, Notre Dame game, Notre Dame, Michigan game on. So I'm watching the Notre Dame, Michigan game. They talk about how big the linemen are. I'm not even half of what I am now, or what I grew to be. But I'm sitting there, I'm a chubby kid, and I'm talking to my dad, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go to college for free. I'm gonna go to college for free for football. Mind you, I'm horrible at this point. It's just I'm a kid saying a dream, man. I'm going through that process, and that's around 13. I fell in love with it, man, and I bet on myself. That same passion and love I got now at 31, and that's why I coach. It's crazy because I still feel that like that energy I had that day when I talked to my dad about playing ball, and then we were watching the college game, and I was like, man, I can go to college for free, and I can play on TV and all of that stuff, man. All of the stuff that excites little kids. That was the core of it for me. That really made the switch. So once I started doing that, my dad was a baseball guy. So he imagine a baseball guy trying to teach me how to play football and laughing at that. So my dad, he trying to show me some stuff. And I'm like, Dad, that's all wrong, it's all wrong. But he's trying to do the best he can. He's heavily involved, man. Always, my dad sent me to 2 camps. That's when the switch had flipped. I went to 2 camps, man, and my dad left me there. It was one of those 4-day overnight camps where you stay and you wear pads. My dad came back, and I won the best lineman at the camp. My dad was like, oh. I was like, yeah. I was down there killing. I don't know what it was. It was being around. I was on my own. I was around the other guys. We had some real good coaches, and like everything the coaches did, I was just tied in. I'm repeating it verbatim, demonstrating it. They using me for demonstrations and stuff. But around that moment when my confidence grew, then I took that into high school. That's what led me to doing the things that I was able to do then as well.
And not just that too, as far as the confidence level, but your toughness level too. Because like you said, growing up in Chicago, there were some bad things that you saw that made you tougher as a person and mentally. I would probably say that for sure. Because and we'll get into mental toughness here in a little bit. But like you said, everything from your hometown, not only gave you the toughness, but it helped build your confidence too. Because you had that good support system, of your family and your mom and your dad, who I both love, by the way, and your brother.
Yep.
But, I find it funny when you say, your dad's a baseball guy. So a baseball guy trying to coach a football player, it's probably almost the same like as a hockey dad trying to coach up a basketball player who does a whole lot.
No, hey, exactly, man. It's like I love my dad to death, because I know he'd make any sacrifice he could for us. And that was just another one. It was like my dad had no idea what a lineman was supposed to be. He's watching it and listening to stuff. My dad had played football, but not like that, and not to the point where he could teach me. But so he did what he can. He did his research, man. Did what he can, and he sent me to good spots where I could learn from people. So I know if I have a son who plays a different sport, I'm gonna find the people who know the stuff and send them to me.
I really wish I could have been there for those moments, man. Your dad trying to teach you, what offensive lineman does.
Right, man. No, yeah, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. He bought those forearm sleeves. They used to wear the forearm sleeves.
Oh no.
He went to Sports Authority. Remember Sports Authority?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So he went to Sports Authority, grabbed those, and he brought them on. He's like, yeah, this is what you hit with. I'm like, Dad, come on.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
So let's get in your high school career a little bit. So Mount Carmel High School, like you said, you got the confidence, you're putting in all the work, and it's starting to show. You were ranked as one of the nation's top offensive guards. You were ranked 37th by scout.com. You were 55 by Rivals. You were anywhere from a top 50 to a top 60, top 40 offensive guard. And you were rated among the Midwest tops. You were rated among the top prospects in the Midwest by Tom Lemming's Pro Football Report. And you were one of the top football players in the state of Illinois. So when you see all these rankings and these offers come in, you had offers from schools like Michigan State, Indiana, Illinois, Boston College, Kentucky, North Carolina State. So anywhere from the Big Ten to the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12. When you're looking at all this, was there ever a time where you were like, I feel like I can do more? Or was there a time like, man, look at these rankings, this is cool, like maybe I need to back off? Or did the ratings just not mean anything to you at all?
Man, it pushed me. Me. I had a chip. Going to Mount Carmel, I had a chip on my shoulder, man, because I wasn't Mount Carmel was one of those high schools that don't recruit, but recruit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, right. So I'm snotty-nosed kid walking in there. Nobody knew me. So, the funny story is my entire high school career was about developing my mental toughness to another level. I feel like it made me a college ball player. And you know what I'm saying? Because my freshman year, I was told I was too fat, I wasn't good enough, and I was placed on the B team. I played on the B team. So the real freshmen play Saturday at 9 a.m. And then the B team freshmen, we play on like a Tuesday, Wednesday. We drive into different games and stuff. So I played on the B team my freshman year, and it motivated me, man. I think that I went home. I went home and I told my dad, "Can I transfer? I want to
Really?
leave." Yeah, I want to leave. I cannot. I'm like, Pops. They disrespecting me. I don't want to be here, man. I want to leave. My dad like, no. What? I'm pissed at 14. What you mean? Why I can't transfer? No. You're gonna go to work and you're gonna prove them wrong. And that instantly lit a fire in me, which I thank him now because it turned me into something else. Like, it made me be like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work so hard this off season. It's not gonna be alignment out there better. And see, really, that's when I made the jump. I grew about 3 inches. I went from 5'11" to 6'2" my sophomore year. So I was 6'2" sophomore, about 250 then. I finally start hitting the weights a little bit. I'm running, jumping, skipping around there. Then that sophomore year, first day of pads, man, I'm smashing everybody. I'm so pissed off. I'm just, I'm hitting anything moving, I'm knocking it out. Guys in practice, they like, man, you didn't change. I'm not, I'm not playing. I'm not on the bench this year. There's no B team with the sophomore team. I'm starting. So, it's crazy because I started that sophomore year and I got moved up to varsity as a sophomore. And I got moved up to varsity as a sophomore, man. But I think about that adversity that I had to face at 14, and I wanted to run. I wanted to run from it, but my dad was like, no, you're not transferring. That's not what we do. We finish where we start. And I was like, I'm pissed, but now, I thank him because it taught me how to be resilient early. And then it taught me that I could turn that negative and use that energy and to transcend myself, which led to, me overcoming all the greater things I was going to have to face later, man. So it was such a comfortable time around my junior, senior year. It was icing on the cake. I'm sitting here like, all the freshman coaches saying, we always knew you can do it. No, you didn't. Stop it. Right. Right. And of course, I'm 16, I'm 17. All these offers are coming in now. So, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, you guys ain't believing me. I'm showing you now. And then I just made it. They gave me a chip on my shoulder, man, which I think every athlete needs, every person needs really to push them to get over that edge. Because if you ain't got nothing pushing you, what's going when shit does get tough, when it does get to the point where somebody else, they'll be like, hey, AI, it's good, man. You don't have to keep doing this. No, I do. No, but I do. Like, you gotta have that. You gotta have something pulling you and something pushing you. So, I'm a firm believer in that, man. But once I got all the ratings and all that stuff, it was just a testament to hard work, dedication, man. I went to work every summer. And of course, naturally, God blessed me. I grew a little bit more. I think my senior year, I was about 6'3.5", 315, so I put on some weight, and all of that. And, but yeah, it all ended up working out for me.
So before we get into the obstacles that you later had to overcome, just in the middle of your senior year, let's talk about Michigan State real quick. So they were one of the schools that offered you. What was it that, and obviously this was Coach D'Antonio's first recruiting class because he had gotten there in December. And I think he got his recruiting started late because I know the early signing period didn't happen at that time. But, what kind of made Coach D'Antonio and his staff, like what was the conversation that made you say to yourself, all right, I love what they're selling. I'm East Lansing bound. Like, what was the conversation that made you have that set in your mind?
Man, one, Michigan State's campus is gorgeous. Probably one of the most best places I've been. And, on all my visits, easily, I love how big campus was, me coming from being a big city kid. I didn't feel like you don't feel like you're in a small town when you on East Lansing, or, when you on campus at State, man. But the biggest thing that Coach D did to separate themselves, they didn't lie to me. They didn't BS me, man. Like they The biggest thing with them, a lot of coaches during recruiting was, oh, Arthur, you can come in here and play as a freshman. And I'm like, okay, there's other guys here too. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that sounds good. But I know I'm good, but it's a lot you got to learn. Body has to mature. You're going against grown men. You know, it's a different game at that level, the level of speed and stuff like that. But Coach D, he called me in his office and he said, hey, you're our number one guard on the board. And I said, okay, cool. You know, I'm number one guard on a couple boards. So, you know, I'm like, I'm like, is he going to give me the same old story that I've been hearing? But he was like, I'm not going to tell you you're going to play, but you're going to have an opportunity. You come in here, you're going to have an opportunity to compete. And, you know, you be under great tutelage by Dan Rochar, which he didn't lie. Coach Rochar is one of my mentors, great friends now to this day. And, you know, I feel like it wasn't BS. He's telling me straight up, this is your opportunity. We got a couple seniors and a couple juniors at this position. So you come in here, you red shirt. By your red shirt freshman year, you in the mix. And oh man, you know, that sound good. Because, you know, me personally as well, you know, I wanted to come up there, get bigger, stronger. I had heard the stories about, you know, you go to college and you come back home looking like Tarzan. So, you know, right. You know, I wanted to go experience that and everything. So he was speaking my language, man. But the coaches just seemed real genuine. You know, I spent about an hour with Coach Rochar, and we watched Olin Kreutz tape, old Chicago Bears center. Olin Kreutz, he got Chicago Bears film. And you know, me not knowing this from his relationship with Harry Heaston, who was the Bears O-line coach then, we watching Olin Kreutz. And, you know, he killing. You know, he's just like, yeah, you know, these are the techniques we're going to be doing. This is what we're going to be doing at practice. And I was just like, man, I felt like I was connected with them. They established a substantial relationship where it came off as genuine. And the crazy thing is now it's like you can't fake genuine. And I know that now being a coach, you know, and me recruiting kids and everything, you know, whether a guy ends up coming to Northwood or not, we have a genuine relationship. They can hit me up. I'm Coach Ray. They like, okay, I can call Coach Ray with this question, X, Y, and Z. And I got that from my time getting recruited and the coaches that I liked and the coaches that I didn't necessarily like.
And I think that's the thing too, when you're an athlete being recruited by, you know, any school, you know, wherever you go, like number one, like you said, Arthur, like you want to go to a place that, you know, like a beautiful campus like Michigan State. You want to go to a place that kind of feels like home, a place you're going to enjoy yourself in the next 4 to 5 years and be around great people. But it's like you said, the relationships you have with the coaches go above and beyond that. So for example, you know, when I went to Grand Valley State for 2 years, Burt Paddock, who recruited me, you know, Burt was always that guy I leaned on to, you know, my freshman year at Grand Valley State. And then when he left, you know, it was different after that. But, you know, to this day, I'm still able to talk to him, you know, have conversations with him. When I got to Michigan State, you know, Dane Fife didn't get there till my senior year in 2011. But Fife at the time, you know, Fife was only 31 years old. Like he was the youngest head coach in the game at the time. And then he's brought it to Michigan State. And I remember just Fife and I instantly having this chemistry where we could talk about anything. We're watching his old film from Indiana and we're having laughs about it and just joking around. And, you know, like you said, that's probably the most important thing, you know, when it comes to a player coach is that you want to be genuine with them. And at the same time, you want to be straight up with them. And like you said, that conversation you had with Coach D and Coach Rochar, there was no BS, man. Like they flat out told you right away that this is what we're going to do. This is where we'll see you at. And, you know, I think that's the one thing that a lot of athletes today don't look at that. Is like, I mean, you know, this as a coach, like if the University of Alabama recruits you and says, all right, you're our number one guy, but you know, this is where we see you in 2 years. This is how we're going to build it. Whereas somebody like Auburn says you're going to play right away. I feel like that today's recruits just say, all right, I'm going to go play at Auburn because of the playing time. Like they really don't look at the bigger picture, you know? So you sign with Michigan State, you're sold. You're on top of the world at that time. You're going to play for a great program. And like you said, you know, you were in a great recruiting class with, you know, I think Kirk Cousins was in that class with you, right? BJ Cunningham and those guys.
Yep. Kirk Cousins, BJ Cunningham, Mark Dill. Yeah, they're my guys. Antonio Jeremiah, all them guys. Yep.
So that was like the class that basically established the winning culture, and it took time to build. But so, like I said, you're on top of the world. You're going to go to a school where you're going to rebuild the culture and win championships. But then you hit maybe one of the biggest roadblocks in your life, And, we've had the conversation about it. I mean, hell, like we live in an apartment together. I saw you live it. But we really not gotten too much detail about it. Just kind of tell me, man, like just take me through everything from day one when you noticed that, you had a lump on your leg, something just wasn't right to the day of the doctors. I mean, start from day one, man. I mean, the floor is yours, like when it comes to your story right now.
No, I got you. Well, man, you're right. I accomplished everything. Me and my dad we were just getting back home. I had just played in the offense defense All-American Bowl. So you think that our Michigan State signing class was good. My all-star quarterback was Cam Newton. Joe Hayden was playing receiver. Brandon Sane was our running back. Our defensive line was Carlos Dunlap. Yeah,
wow.
big time NFL guys.
Yeah.
I was on the East. Rolando McClain was a linebacker. He's a freak, 18 years old. That's my guy, man. We had some fun times down there during bowl week. But we're going against the West. The West had, I believe, Aaron Court. He played quarterback at SC, and Dez Bryant was at receiver. Wow. Omar Bolden at corner. It's just a loaded staff. Stevie Garcia, the quarterback from South Carolina. We had studs on both sides of the ball, man. Guys who could play some damn good ball, and doing well eventually. So I'm on a high. So I come home and I got a lump on my shin, not sure what it was. It had been there for months. So I'm thinking it's just a carryover injury from the season. But it really started bothering me one day. And, I told my dad, I said, hey, we might need to go get this checked out. It's really bothering me. And my dad said, okay. So we go into the doctor, get a couple x-rays. They're like, oh, okay, it might be a stress fracture. I'm like, okay, cool. Might be a stress fracture. So I go back to school a week later. I'm like, nah, Dad, this is really bothering me. Like my leg is hurting. I can barely get up the stairs now. I'm like, man, it's hurting me for real. And there's signing day coming up. So, I'm just thinking about, I'm like, man, I got to get this healthy before I get up to state. I got to get this healthy. So I go back in there. So the doctor said, okay, let's do a biopsy. Let's go in there and see what it is, man. They go do a biopsy, come back, a bone tumor, bone cancer, osteosarcoma. You need to start chemotherapy immediately. I'm just sitting there, wow. I'm at the hospital with my Michigan State hoodie on, about to sign with State, a week till I get the news. And I'm just like, what the, I'm devastated, man. Devastated. So many mixed emotions went through my head. Am I going to live? Is football gone forever? What's my life going to look like? One of the doctors said, oh, you might lose your leg. I'm 17, high level athlete. I can't believe what's happening. So pure devastation, I'd say, for then. But after I got over that, I called Coach D, let Coach D know, let Coach Rochar know. They were crazy supportive still. Thank God for them today. They said they keep me on scholarship. Coach Rochar sat in the room when the doctor was explaining my chemo plan. You take chemo 10 weeks, then you have surgery, and you're going to finish out the year on chemo. And so, man, then the next thing I know, man, before all this shit happened, man, the whirlwind blinked, and I'm bald. I'm in the middle of chemo. I'm losing weight. I'm sick. I'm throwing up. I'm looking in the mirror, and I don't see a Division I athlete anymore. I'm on the 6th floor of UIC hospital, and I was feeling sorry for myself. Like anybody in my situation was feeling sorry for myself down in the dump. I blew it. You were supposed to go to Michigan State. You're supposed to be all Big Ten, drafted, green room. You change your whole family's life. All you got to do is stay healthy, play some good seasons, leave your junior year. All of the dreams that guys have coming out of high school. No, I'm on the 6th floor, downtown Chicago at UIC Hospital, crying my eyes out in the hospital room alone. And that's when I became a man, though. That's when I became, the man I am today, because it opened my eyes to, as sad as I was, as devastated as I wasn't in the worst space on that 6th floor in that hospital. And I didn't see it that way until man, I met two guys. Chris, he's 10 years old. He comes in my room. I'm like, he had seen me crutching through the hallway. So he come in my room, he pushing a Nintendo 64 on wheels into my room. He like, yeah, let's play the game. I'm like, what? And I'm on bed rest crying. I'm, what? You know, right? I'm like, all right, man, let's play the game. You know, we playing Mario Kart. So I'm like, all right, man, let me do something. I'm here now. You know, we're going through it, chemo dripping. And Chris, he's going through leukemia, stage 4 leukemia. Been in the hospital 2 years. He's 10 years old. He's 10. And he like, yeah, who you picking? Oh yeah, you know. And he's a kid. He's a kid. He's in the hospital. And I'm tore up. This big, strong ball player, I'm tore up, emotionally tore up, and he's just fine. And I'm playing the game, and I'm like, man, how long you been in here? Oh, I've been in here 2 years. He just said it without a blink. I'm like, man, you been in here holidays? Like, yeah, I spent Christmas here last time. I'm, whoa. Wow. Like, this is my first week in the hospital. Man, he like, oh, you play football? I said, yeah, man, I just signed with Michigan State. Oh, wow. Oh, you in high school? You know, how's high school? How are the girls? And I'm like, what? I'm sitting here, you know, I'm sitting here devastated, and he just 10-year-old kid, worse shape than me, way worse shape than me, less chances of survival than me. Reality hit me right in the face then. I was, wow. Yeah, I got to pick this shit up. I can't be in here like this. Yeah, I can't be in here like this. He instantly was, man, that's so cool. You play football. I can't wait to get to high school. I can't wait to, you know, experience that. And it just, man, for that moment right there, I said, I felt like I was the only person in the world that had the world on him and that was dealing with everything that I was dealing with. But to hear him say that he would trade places with me in a heartbeat just to experience what I felt like was nothing. I'm like, yeah, nothing, man. It's high school, everyday stuff, go play ball, you know. Man, it changed my total mental perspective. So, you know, after that, went through chemo for 10 weeks, did my first surgery. First surgery was 15 hours. Yeah, I was asleep, but my mom remembers it. Yeah, I'm sure. But that removed the tumor. Finished up chemo the rest of that year, and I enrolled in the state. Enrolled in the state January, my freshman year. Had to withdraw from state 2 months later because I developed a infection right where the spot where they removed my tumor from. Developed an infection, had to get sent home, operated on again. Man, over that span of 2007 to 2009, I had 9 surgeries, 4 on my leg, 4. So I had a major surgery on my leg. I'm sent home for 6 months back in Chicago. You know, I got a cement spacer in my leg, no bone, full of antibiotics, just cleaning my leg out. Before that, yeah, cleaning my leg out. I got a PICC line going through my arm. I got at-home nurse come see me 3 times a week. Wow. At-home nurse come see me 3 times a week. I'm on bed rest. You know, I'm hopping, can't put no pressure on my leg at all. I'm going through it. Hey, because then, you know, I was really going through it then because I had got a small taste of what state was like, what MSU was like. And, you know, I was enjoying myself, you know, being in the dorms, being around the guys, just feeling back to normal. But got sent home, and I stayed home till about August, ended up going back up to state. And yeah, we met, was I still on crutches?
Yeah, you
first half, yeah.
So the first time you and I met, I think it was August, just before fall camp had started that year. And you and I, the first time we met, and it was Dino Felino who because I was trying to look for a roommate, and Dino told my dad, he goes, "Oh, I'll put Anthony with Arthur Ray. You know, it'd be perfect for each other. You know, they got basically almost similar backgrounds, you know, different stories, but I think they'd be great, you know, to room together." And so the first time I met you, I pulled up to Case Hall in my 88 Olds Royale.
Oh, yeah.
Olds Royale. It made some crazy noises, but to this day, Dan Chapman, who was a walk-on at Michigan State, a teammate of mine, he said to me, and I quote, "You may have the ugliest car out of anybody on this team, but geez, man, it's like sitting it's like sitting on a couch in these seats, man. Like that's why we ride in your car, because it's like sitting in a recliner. It's so comfortable. But
Right.
that's when you and I met, right? When you sat in my car,
Yep.
hands, introduced each other. We went over to Spartan Village, checked out our apartment, and the rest was history after that. But
Yep.
and like I said, like everything you just said there, like I knew a little bit about your story at the time, but I had no idea, you were at state for 2 months in 07 and then got sent back home for an additional 6 months. So how long were you on crutches? Because it wasn't just 6 months. It wasn't 6 months.
No, 2 years, 25 months total. 25 months. Yeah, 2 years, man. I was on crutches, hopping, couldn't put no weight on my left leg for 2 years. So then that's why when I finally moved into Spartanville, and they cleared me to just walk.
Mm-hmm.
I could walk then, I dropped the crutches, so I had to walk for a year. So that the doctors, they wanted to make sure that my leg was healed enough and strong enough to withhold me and stuff, going through that process, man. But that is crazy. On crutches for 2 years. Once I got off hitting the weight room like crazy, Coach Manny was vital in my recovery, vital in my mental recovery too. Because I think the biggest thing is what the cancer did to me physically. Everybody saw what it did to me mentally. I wasn't even prepared for, like the toil, the turmoil, the toll it left me. That identity crisis as an athlete, when you don't have the sport anymore to cling to. When people say, "Oh, Arthur Ray, who are you?" "Oh, I'm a ball player." "Yeah, Big Ten ball player, Michigan State." Now I'm like, man, who am I? So I'm asking myself that at 17, who am I? And you like, I've been a ball player forever. The world praises me for being a ball player. That's my gift. That's what I'm thinking. Then, of course, I'm so blinded by the BS. I can't even see my true potential at that point. But yeah, man, I went through transitions mentally at state. The healthier I got physically and body-wise, the more my confidence grew within myself off the field, which in turn led to me becoming, the player that I ultimately became once I stepped back on it. So I think that, yeah, man, my mental, especially when we was at Spartanville, man, I hadn't found myself. I was searching. I'm gonna tell you where I was at Spartanville. I was trying to live a life of what I thought a Division I football player was supposed to be. From what I had heard, from what I had saw, from what my friends were saying on other campuses. I'm like, "Oh, y'all went to that party? Oh, you having that fun? Oh, okay, y'all doing that?" Well, I'm on crutches. I'm at home on bed rest. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to find my way. I feel like college is such a huge space for people to try to navigate and learn themselves anyway, that I was in limbo. I'm like, okay, am I going to do this? Am I going to be this guy? Who am I going to be now after injury? It was a lot of mixed emotions, man, that I didn't really know how to handle at times, and I assumed that they would go away the older I got when I started playing ball and stuff. But nah, man, the mental side of it, I mean, it's still to this day is things that I battle with. I'm a lot better at it now, just from the turmoil that I went through. But just that is probably the biggest thing that I don't think a lot of people know.
So you talk about Coach Manny, and we would always joke on the basketball team, how much coffee Coach Manny would have, because like he would come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, waits for you guys, and just have the energy I've never seen from any individual at 5:30 in the morning. So we would all joke around and be like, how many cups of coffee does he have? It's like that rumor about Ed Orgeron, how Ed Orgeron has 25 Red Bulls a day, which is why he's crazy, he's so hyped up. But, Coach Manny played a huge part in a lot of people's lives. I mean, obviously with me too, because he wants to be that guy that has your back. But with you, there was a sign in his office. And I remember because the Big Ten Network did, when they did a story on you, Coach Manny talked about there was a sign in his office that you would go and point to each and every single day you were in that weight room. Do you remember what that sign said?
Man, I think he had so many different ones because I think we talked about it. I don't remember what the sign says now though.
So I couldn't remember if it was about. Oh man, I would have to go back on YouTube and look.
I'd have to check it out.
Because I remember, it was a sign that I'm really kicking myself because I should know because I've seen your story on YouTube a bunch of times. But just having that guy in your corner that motivated you and said, hey, it's going to be tough, but I'm going to help you get through it. And so when did it start clicking for you that, hey, I think I could get back on the field? I know I will get back on the field despite everything that's happened. Like and it's going to be here in Spartan Stadium sometime within the next few years or even next year. So when did it finally click for you that, hey, I'm going to be on this field when it's all said and done?
When I finally got off crutches and I started moving around, man, and then, my upper body had got so strong because that's all I could do for 2 years, So I'm right. Upper body wise, I'm a Division I athlete. Lower body, I had to work. So I finally started. I could do some single leg squats. I'm moving around in the weight room. My anger was at a different level. My anger was at another level. Like I used to be pissed off every day. I go in the weight room. Coach May, but Arthur, how you doing? I'm all right. He don't know. Inside, I'm screaming, So I'm going through the rehab and, I remember doing squats and I started to fall, I'm like, man, I'm getting pissed because I'm like, man, is my leg going to hold up? I'm like, don't fail me now. We've been through too much, I'm challenging myself every day. And, man, I think it was during those moments because I had a lot of tough days, man. I had times, you going, when you hurt and you got to go watch practice in your yellow jersey and it used to rip my heart out. I'm watching guys do what I want to do so bad. And then, you seeing everybody. So you seeing the guys that that's having success. I'm seeing my boys, Mark Dale, BJ, Kurt, them boys balling. I'm watching them ball. We came in the same class together. They ball. Then you see the other guys who, not really having success. And they like, yeah, whatever. They taking that shit for granted. And that bothered me. I'm like, y'all don't know what I would do to be in your space, to be healthy, to be able to run, jump, hop, skip. It just, man, the motivational level that I was getting on a daily basis from everything that I was observing and how I was taking it, it was something different, man. Once I was able to fail, come back, angry, come back. Man, I went in the weight room one time. Coach Manny said something to me, man. I was like, not today, man. Not today. And you know how Coach Manny is. Don't nobody say that to me. That's how I knew I was getting to I was getting to that level where I was becoming something else. Like all of the pain and the turmoil had turned me into something else. Like, because it started to come out. I wasn't able to contain it anymore, and I got into right after the Big Ten Network interview, I showed up to the weight room and I got into an argument with one of the interns, and the intern ended up turning out to be one of my best friends now, Billy. That's my guy. Yeah. Billy, that's my guy, man. Hey, love him to death. He stayed with me. We got into an argument. He was like, he was telling me, he was like, oh man, you half-assing it, man. You half-ass. I was like, what? I dropped 80-pound dumbbells. I'm what? I'm like, man, watch your mouth, man. I'm like, right. I'm losing. I'm about to lose it, man. And Coach Manny's like, what's your problem, huh? What you say? I said, man, watch your mouth, man. I said, all of y'all in here, this is what I told him, man. I said, I didn't ask for none of this shit. I didn't ask for none of it. I didn't ask for the Big Ten Network interview. I just wanted to be a ball player. I'm 18, full of rage. I'm full of rage, AI. I'm like, I don't care about no Big Ten Network interview. I just want to play. Where my pads? And it was so sincere. Coach Manny didn't say a word. I cussed him out and walked out. Went home. I went home. I went back to Spartanville. I went home and left practice. Didn't show up to practice. That next day, he called me in his office, and he said, I heard everything you said yesterday. And he said, we're going to do everything we can get you back on this field. You just got to trust me. And it was me lashing out, of course, being young, being upset, a lot of things that had been going on, so much stuff in my head. It was those demons in my head coming out, you know what I'm saying? But just going through that, man, and after we went over that hump, I ain't miss a day. AI. I was in there early, staying late, doing extra rehab. Once I started, I got over the hump. I started moving around. Then the doctor, oh, Arthur, you can run. Oh, I can run? Cool, let's go. Like, right, let's go. Yeah, I'm like, let's go. So it's just a constant build up, man. Fail, come back, fail, come back, fail, come back, fail, come back. Keep coming back. I kept coming back every day, man, until I got to the point where I was back, where there was no more fail. Failure wasn't an option. I was too mad. Then I wasn't going to stop. Somebody would have had to kill me back then for me to stop. I had so much energy that I was just, wired. And I had such a chip on my shoulder about proving people wrong because, everybody was like, man, Arthur, they was like, you don't have to do this. You don't have to come back and play, man. You just went through, something that kills millions of people that a lot of people can connect with. You could just graduate and go live your life. You don't have to come back and play. And that was just more fuel. I took that as they weren't hating on me or trying to belittle me. I took it that way though. Just to motivate me. I took it that way. I took it like, what? You don't believe in me? Good. Okay, good. I'm gonna add you to the list too. So it was just a lot of during that time, a lot of energy that I chose to focus within myself, and I transcended.
And that's why, Arthur, whenever people refer to me or whenever somebody says, other than my own personal story, other than Anthony Ianni's own story, some people have asked me, what's one of the most inspirational stories that you've ever heard of? And I flat out refer to you because I witnessed all that. I witnessed the days you came home all pissed off. I witnessed the days where you struggled. We had those conversations, and I witnessed those days of, 2010 with Billy running on the field during spring camp. And then I didn't get a chance to witness this, but the day you came back in spring practice of 2011, I'll never forget when, I think I had just gone to the weight room and I think Vork was with us working us out. And I asked Vork, I said, hey, Vork, how's Art doing? And he said, you didn't hear? I was like, no, what? He said, he's back. And I tried so hard not to get emotional because the years that the hell you went through, man, from the day you signed to knowing you had cancer, to the treatments, to the surgeries, to the 25 plus months on crutches, I just said to myself, I said, man, if that's not the most inspirational story in this university's history, I don't know what is. So the day you came back, Art, I was excited, but that was from my perspective. What was going through your mind? You put on the pads for the first time, you put on that helmet, and you run out onto that practice field, getting ready to get after it for the first time in 4 years since your senior year in high school.
Man, unbelievable. God is real. I kept saying, I'm jogging on the field. I'm like, God is real. I'm jogging on the field. I got my knee braces on and I'm rolling. I'm like, man, they said he's going to cut my leg off. What? I got the Nike logo on. I got the Spartan green on. I'm a Big Ten player. What? It's unbelievable, man. I hit the pavement. Coach D right there. Coach D was like, come on, LA. I was like, wow. It's a dream come true. My dreams come true, man. It was emotional. It was emotional. It was tough for me to finish that practice without getting emotional, just because it was all coming out. It was coming out, man, just because I had so much on me. I put so much on myself, that no one else did, that no one else told me to. I put so much pressure on myself. I got to a point where I am not letting myself down. No. No. They're like, are you sure you want to practice? I'm practicing next Tuesday. You said I was practicing next Tuesday a month ago. I'm practicing next Tuesday. Yeah, or are you having any? Yeah, I'm having a couple eggs. I'm gonna grab some ice like a normal player would, and I'm practicing next Tuesday. Like, yeah, man, it's just it's crazy. It's crazy because it's like me by nature. When I turn into that, a lot of people get surprised because I'm nice and lighthearted by nature, but they that other side, that lion, that other side in me that allowed me to play at a high level, that it just started coming out, man. But it was a special day I'll never forget. That was a good day right there.
And maybe about 5 months later, another special day. Before the Youngstown State game, the home opener in 2011 season, you got word, during your guys' team meal before the walk over the stadium that you were going to be starting. And, just tell us that. And I saw that moment. And for those of you listening and watching this, if you want to check it out, just look up Arthur Ray's story, Big Ten Network on YouTube, and you will see the moment when Coach D'Antonio announced to the team that Arthur Ray was starting. But again, just what was going through your mind? And did you know about it at the time, or was it?
No, I had no idea. That was crazy. Like, that was, even thinking about it, the way it happened, we pregame meal. This is my first pregame meal. This is my first time staying in the Kellogg. I'm in the Kellogg before the game. I'm like, I'm really playing. It's just, it was all of that stuff, man. It was special for me, real special. For Coach D to do it in front of the team and the way he did it, pregame, we only a couple hours before game time. I'm like, wow, it's a night game, Spartan Stadium, under the lights, 75,000. And I'm like, man, this is my first time doing the walk as a player, like, as a real player. Like, I'm really about to go get dressed, and special, man. My mom was there, and my aunt was there as well. But it was special moment that I never forget.
There was another moment, Art, and for those that have never been to Spartan Stadium, usually the first game of the season, they let all the athletes make a big tunnel for you guys. And that's through Student Athlete Support Services. So all the teams come out and you guys run out of the tunnel. And before we leave the field, they told us to stay on the field for the national anthem because, they want everybody there. And the anthem starts playing. And I kind of turned my shoulder over a little bit to kind of see where you were at. And you just let all that emotion out, man. You let it all out. The years of the surgeries, the chemo, the crutches, all led up to that moment. And, again, did it all kind of just hit you during the anthem? Like 4 years of hell led to this moment. Like, was that basically that was all going through your mind during that 2.5 minute time period with the national anthem? Like, it all led up to this.
Man, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's just, it's crazy. I say that I took a class, IDES 140 at State, and I do not know the professor's name. I pray maybe one day I'm gonna find him. We was in class one day. That guy brought energy because he said, so what's the definition of beautiful to you? So he going around the class, different people answering, and he said the definition of beautiful is when you are able to witness your hopes, your dreams right before your eyes. And that's the perfect way to describe that moment. After everything, after doubts from the doctors, doubts from people close around me, doubts from myself. Self-doubt was the number one thing. You gonna be able to do this, Art? You sure? You still that player? You still got it in you? Oh, your leg hurt, don't it? You gonna stay in bed today? Nah, stay in bed today, big dog. You got it. You got it. And overcoming all of that. So, I said it in the interview. Everybody's quiet now.
Yep.
And it's just me. Everybody's quiet now. It was like I was on that field by myself. and I just let it out. I just, man, this what you prayed for, this what you asked God for, just what you worked for. You know, I took the action. I asked God for it, then I went to work for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't just say, oh, God, save me. I'm gonna save myself too. Like, you know, like I'm gonna make sure that I do everything within my human right, will, you know, grit, resilience. You know, I'm gonna do everything that I can do to make this moment possible. Then, Lord, I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need some divine intervention. What happened on that field, Spartan Nation, was that night was divine intervention. That was the Lord Himself, you know, and that's why, you know, it's so important for me to do what I'm doing now, like coach, and you know, and where my career went even after that, just the how special all those things were.
Man, I got chills right now, man, just talking about this, because I know how much that moment meant to you, your family. And again, man, I got chills, and I'm wearing a hoodie right now, man. I got chills right now.
Man, yeah. You taking me back to some emotions that, like, because I'm such a tunnel vision type guy, you know. So it's like, even now, I have to remind myself, like, damn, I went through all of that, you know, because now I'm so next step, trying to be the best coach I can be, focused on now, you know, me at the phase I'm at now. But I'm like, man, I went through a lot, went through hell. Like, it was tough. Like, you know, thinking back to that stuff, not a day goes by though. That's where I grab my strength from. That's why anything I face nowadays is not nowhere near.
And then after that, you finished your football career in a high note. You went on to play for, you know, John L. Smith at Fort Lewis College for a couple of years. You know, Your senior year, you were second team all conference. And I want to ask you about this. So, you know, obviously the NFL, basically a professional league for any sports player, whether it's baseball, hockey, basketball, football. That's always the athlete's dream right there. The athlete's dream. So you didn't get drafted, but you were picked up as an undrafted rookie free agent with the Miami Dolphins. You know, just kind of talk to me about that experience. You know, I know it was short-lived, but just kind of talk about the experience that you had with the Dolphins, and just talk about, you know, the minicamp experience.
Man, that was, you know, if playing for Spartan Stadium was the goal, the league was the dream. And that was all, you know, again, that was all God, man. Like, you know, he gave me another opportunity going to Fort Lewis. And, you know, I found myself. I say that's where I got my groove back. I got my groove back in Colorado. You know, I got my feet underneath me. You know, I was able to play well, play at a high level, voted captain out there. And I felt like my old self. Like at State, it took me so long just to get back to being serviceable. I became a player out there in Colorado, man. And it's just crazy that all of the adversity, because I went through adversity in Colorado. You know, my very first game of my senior year, my offensive line coach, he comes to see me. He said, "Hey, the Atlanta Falcons scout, he here to watch you today." I'm in the locker room like, "Atlanta Falcons scout? What? Here to see me?" You know, he like, yeah, been talking about you all week, man. They loved you. They love what you put on tape last year. I'm like, they love what I put on tape. You know, I'm in the locker room like, oh, well, don't mind if I do. You know, right? I'm like, another day in the office. Now let's get this. Let's go to the league, baby. I said, we already done proved the world wrong and you back. Let's go to the league now. Let's really show the world God's work. Like, you know, let's really shock everybody. So, man, very first play, tear my meniscus in my right leg.
Oh, man.
Hey,
Man.
And you see, now this is the story no one knows. Tore my meniscus. When you play in Division II, it was a 21-hour bus ride from California to Colorado. I was 21 hours with a torn meniscus, steaming in the back. I said, God, I'm in the back of the bus. God, you brought the scout there to see me. Now I got hurt again. I'm like, Lord, what you on with me? Like, it's here. I'm like, God, what you on with me? I did everything right. I'm questioning. I'm like, you know what? I done been through worse. Cool. Let's go back to the school, see what they got to say. They said, Art, we're going to operate on it. We're going to cut about 40% of it out. You'll be back in 3 weeks. I said, when I'm going to be back? They say, you could be ready to go as early as 3 weeks. I'll be ready to go in 3 weeks. Thank you. That's all I need to tell me. And they did that surgery. I was out. My boy Jordan picked me up. Man, I was on crutches for a little bit. Rehab every day. Boom, boom. Hey, now I'm like, rehab? Crutches? What? I'm a god to this. Right,
I know what I'm doing here. Like, come on now.
It's chump change. I was on crutches 2 years, kid. I was doing rehab for 2, 3, 4. It took me 4 years to build myself back up. This is nothing. Kibbles, candy to a baby. So I'm going through there, man. Rehab, boom, come back 3 weeks. Boom, still get named all conference. Oh, and those last 6 weeks, those 6 games that I played in, angry. Woo! I talked to my coach. I said, what the Falcon scout say? Hey, he ain't called me back. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm gonna bring him back. I'm out there. Man, I'm pissed. I'm out there. We going to get some great competition at the RMAC playing CSU Pueblo. CSU Pueblo had about 3, 4 guys that ended up in the NFL. One still playing now, Morgan Fox, for the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
For the Rams, So, but there was 2 other guys on that D-line that played in the NFL. And one guy, he won the Cliff Harris Award, which is the D2 Defensive Player of the Year, and he's killing everybody. I remember I stayed up to 3 in the morning because I said, if I'm going to the NFL, this is my NFL game. I was up at 3 in the morning. And my girlfriend at the time, she's like, don't you got a game tomorrow? I'm like, shh. Like, right, I'm in the zone, right? I'm watching him. I'm like, he's not beating me. I'm like, AI, they're not beating me. I'm serious. I'm like, I already got hurt. I already coming back from my cancer. I said, the NFL cannot play at a high level against high level opponents. Boom. Best game of the season. Best game of the season tops. I balled that game. We ended up beating them, which is crazy. They won the D2 national championship that year, and they got 1 loss on their record to little old Fort Lewis. Little old Fort Lewis, 23-22. And when I tell you I balled that game, respect was earned that game. Respect was earned. After you play a game against somebody in the handshake a little different.
Oh yeah.
After you done got in that for a couple, you're like, oh yeah, like, hey bro, hey yeah. I'm like, you the real deal too, my boy. Hey, it's not about you. You don't understand. It's bigger than you. I done been through hell just to get here. I am not finna let y'all stand in front of what I'm about to do. Like, yeah, man. So I finished up, found an agent in Colorado, trained in Atlanta, Georgia. Down Chip Smith. That's a great man right there, man. They took care of me down there. Went to Northwestern's Pro Day, had a good showing there. And then I sat in my basement, watched the draft, didn't get drafted. Phone rang 2 days after the draft. I was getting a massage from Massage Envy. I run outside. And my agent's like, hey, yeah, the Dolphins want to bring you in. I'm like, the Dolphins want to bring me in. Wow, what? Miami? I'm like, cool, perfect. When? We're flying you out tomorrow. Whoa. Okay. So, go to mini camp down there, man, it's those moments you just can't forget. I went from the hospital bed. I still see it to this day. I see it. The chemo's on my right hand side. It's the bed. The nurses. I hear their annoying voices. They coming in, pricking me, checking my blood. Blood sugar's too high, blood sugar's too low. I'm going through the up and downs of chemo. I'm throwing up. Boom, I'm in the NFL locker room getting fitted. What helmet you want, Art? You want the Revo Speed? Oh, okay, cool. Putting the helmet on. Boom, I'm in the Miami Dolphins facility. What? I'm like, come on, Lord, stop showing out now. I'm like, don't do me like this. I'm like, I asked for it, but you really did. We really did it. We really did it. Like, no, we really did it. Like, and it's, man, it's going out there to practice. Coach Philbin, he said, hey, you showed us, we know all about your fight. You know, you got a chance to prove to us that you can play in this league. I'm like, prove to y'all that I can play in the league after that? Man, bro, it's you know, thinking about it now, it's crazy. I remember I went to my first medical exam. So, you know, I got my scars crazy. You see it on my leg.
Oh, yeah.
And the doctor comes in there, he said, I've never seen a high-level athlete with a leg like that. Good luck to you this week, son.
Wow.
I said, oh, you ain't never seen that? I'm like, don't butter me up now. You know, right? I'm like, don't gas me, doc. Don't gas me. You know what I'm saying? But it just was, man, I still ain't got words to describe that moment. Being down there, it showed me that with deliberate hard work, unbreakable faith, undeniable, relentless work ethic. You know, you gotta have a forget everybody, what everybody's saying, what the naysayers, forget what yourself is saying, you the self-doubt, overcome it all, and you create your world. I created that moment. That was the moment I prayed for at 18, envisioned, and it was there. I'm in the NFL locker room. I'm an NFL player. We must have started practicing. The O-line coach, he's like, Ray, you up? I'm like, oh, right. I'm like, man, I'm really out here. Like it's I don't talk about it a lot, but it's something, man, I cherish. You know, it'll let me know that anything possible.
And your story, man, is a fine example of that, man. And, you know, as long as I'm living on this earth, I'm always going to, you know, I'm going to tell my kids about your story. I'm going to tell my grandkids about your story one day. And just, I mean, that's how much of an impact you've had on me, man. And just like, you know, I'm not just proud to call you a friend. I'm more proud to call you a brother, man, because that's what you are to me. And you've always had my back, and just seeing what you go through, even if whenever I have tough days, man, if I have down days, I immediately think about you. And I'm like, you know what? If Arthur can go through all this for 4 years, you know, tear his meniscus and still come back from that, I'm like, you know what? I can get through today. You know, if Arthur can go through all that, you know, I can get through today, because he's one of the toughest guys that I know. And again, man, I can't thank you enough for not only being a friend and brother to me, man, but thank you for always having my back. And, you know, our relationship will never change, man. It's always going to be.
Likewise, brother. Feel the same way, right? We grew up together, man. Right?
We
like
did, bro.
We were trying to find our way. You know, snotty-nosed kids who thought we were grown at our first apartment, trying to find our way. Like, you know, that's what it's all about, man. Like, yeah, the relationships, you know, those days, those tough days for me, man. Like, you know, I cherish guys like you, you know, who I knew, you know, weren't judging me for not feeling good. You know, everybody wanted me to feel good all the time. But that's just not reality. And, you know, that's what I tell people now when I go speak with people and I talk to my athletes. You're not going to feel good every day. You're not going to want to do this every day. I didn't. Yeah. Right. So how can I sit here and tell you to walk in here with a smile? It's going to be peachy. No, it's not. It's not going to feel good. But you know, once you get to a space, you can get to it's another level than you think it is. The level that you think, like, no, I'm at my end. No, you're not. It's another level past that you're not even touched, because you have to mentally overcome so much and go through so much pain to get there. Most people never get there. And I feel like I was able to tap into the cheat code to get there. You know, and thank God it didn't overtake me. Thank God, you know, I pray to God all the time. You know, I'm grateful I didn't get so depressed where it became unbearable, where the anxiety didn't just make me go crazy. You know, where I didn't get to the point where I become suicidal or feel like I couldn't do this anymore. I know so many people deal with things like that. And it was Man, because it's so easy to go those routes. Like it's so easy when you're dealing with pain. That's what I talk to people about now. When you're dealing with pain, you're dealing with those emotions, and the world is just chaos around you. And you're like, whoa, settle yourself. You gotta come to wits, settle yourself, so that you can transcend it all, man. And really the quote that I live by, all the chaos outside, it just made me more upset. I start yelling back at it, like all of the rah-rah that was happening around me. I'm like, man, what? I'm looking for, for so long, I tell anybody this, for so long, it was nobody's fault, but it was everybody's fault. That's how I live life. It's nobody's fault. Who gave you cancer, Arthur Ray? Nobody, but whoever it is, I'm looking for him. I can't wait to see him. He gonna see me. You know what I'm saying? What? Who gave me cancer? Nobody. Also, it's everybody's fault. Oh, you doubted me? You don't think I'm coming back? Cool, thank you. Cool, let me go use that in the weight room. It's just that's the energy that I consume and poured into myself. And that's why, I talk to my guys about attack the adversity with intensity. Life gonna get tough. Get tough right with it. Let's see, what's up? You gonna break me? It's only gonna break you if you allow it to. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that whole ordeal just turns me. It gets me excited talking about it now because I can look at it from hindsight, just how angry, upset, and full of emotion I was back then, man. But I just thank God that I channeled it the right way, and I thank God.
Amen, my guy. Amen. All right, now we're going to get to the fun part of the interview now. So I have some rapid fire questions here for you.
Yep. Yep.
So these are all different, man. These are funny. These are serious. And like I said, I want to make sure my guests have a good time on this podcast.
Yeah.
So the first question I'm going to ask, and for the listeners tuning in, this will always be the number one question. It'll always be the number one question. So question number one. Strawberry or grape jelly?
Strawberry jam.
Okay.
Got to spread evenly now.
There you go. Question number two. New York style or Chicago deep dish?
Oh, easy. Chicago style, man. I don't know what they eating paper plates in New York. But no, I ain't never had New York style pieces, but I like to try it. But no, I'm a hometown boy, man. Chicago deep dish all the way.
All right. Question number three. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
Favorite superhero, Batman, easily. Bruce Wayne, million dollar playboy by day, Dark Knight by night.
Amen, my guy. My 3-year-old Nash would love your answer because he's a diehard Batman guy, man. Question number four, and I came up with this one because every single dish that you made at Spartan Village was just top notch. And every time I see you make a dish on Snapchat or Instagram, I'm like, man, I wish Arthur can come over one day and bring that. So question four, favorite breakfast, lunch, or dinner meal to make?
Man, favorite breakfast for me to make would be pancakes, man. I make pancakes, with love and tenderness. But favorite dinner would be anything on the grill, man. I feel like that's my second passion. I'm a grill master now. I think my friends home in Chicago, they'd say my jerk chicken, my homemade jerk chicken on the grill.
Okay.
Yeah, with jerk chicken thighs, boneless chicken thighs that I make is real good. Ribs, steak, from seafood as well. My mother from New Orleans, so that Cajun Creole, that food, I always got that style to me as well. But yeah, anything on the grill, man. I'm a grill master now.
I was going to say, your Cajun pasta that you made in Spartan Village, man, that's still one of my favorites to this day. One of the best dishes I ever had, man. Question number five. Best motivational speaker not named Anthony Ianni.
Best motivational speaker not named Anthony Ianni to me, Inky Johnson.
Oh, yes. I love Inky.
Inky a beast. And it's his tone, it's the delivery, it's on top of the message. The message is always on point, but just the way the build up. He does a great job of getting you like that, and then boom, hitting you with it, similar to with ET. But I like Inky Johnson a lot.
He is one of the best, man. Question number 6: if you could be any animal, what would you choose?
Oh, easy. Lion, king of the jungle. You know, the heart of gold, but will rip your head off. Yeah.
Welcome to the Lion's Den, baby. All right, question number 7. And you may look at me after I read this question and probably go, are you serious with this? Question number 7, true or false? Detroit is a better sports city than Chicago.
Absolutely false.
I had to get you with that one, man. I had to get you with that one because the reason why I brought that up, because those conversations we had in the apartment, man, like, oh, the White Sox are better. No, the Tigers are better, man. You're crazy. Now the Bears, the Lions. I'm like, I have no fight. I shouldn't have any fight in this.
No,
man. In the country, man.
Yeah, the city, Chicago. So, man, we love our sports back home, man, and they've been doing well. But I recruit Detroit a lot, so I know it's downtown Detroit looking good now. So I can't,
It is, man. All right, a couple more for you. Question 8: comic books or magazines?
Magazines.
Okay. Number 9: if you could teach one subject in school, what would that be?
Entrepreneurship or public speaking.
My man. There you go. There you go. All right, final question. Question number 10. Who do you admire the most?
My parents. Their ability to make life as simple for me and my brother, with everything going on with me, during that time, to keep the home life simple, stable, to keep their emotions in check, to not really let me see their emotions and my brother when I know they was hurting. I respect them, respect the hell out of my parents, man, adore my parents, for how strong they are. Every day of the week.
Fantastic, brother. That's beautiful. All right, now to close out our interview, man, I ask my guests this all the time. What is your positive message for the listeners for this week?
Everybody listening, get off the roller coaster. You can't live life up and down. Get off the roller coaster. And and I'm not gonna give you the fancy infomercial and tell you to stay positive either. I challenge people to stay neutral. As never get too high, never get too low. One of my favorite players that we played against was Russell Wilson, and his calmness, his coolness, his calmness. He got ice in his veins. That's what I say. Like that boy is just never rattled. And I feel like that he lives life that way, which is why he's experienced the success in life regardless of whatever happened. Like, I think if people could go through their life being neutral and staying the course and being real with themselves. That's why staying neutral keeps you in the reality phase. Because when you get too low, everything's horrible. When you get too high, everything's great. Nah, it's somewhere in the middle, 9 times out of 10. But challenge yourself to stay neutral, get off the roller coaster. Your life is meant to have challenges, but it doesn't have to be hard. It's meant to be challenges, but it doesn't have to be hard, man. Stay in your faith, take care of yourself. I meditate, pray daily, whatever you believe in the higher power, take care of yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary, the inspirational, the great Arthur Ray Jr. Arthur, I love you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. And it's been awesome, man. And just know I love you, and I always got your back for life, man. Lion's Den forever, man. You already know.
Love you, bro. Forever, dog. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Again, I cannot thank Arthur Ray enough for coming on to the Center podcast today and just talking about his story of overcoming cancer, to returning to the football field, to the fantastic moments, the ups and downs, the hell he went through in his life, and just where he's at today, coaching at Northwood University, the offensive line coach there. Again, I can't thank Arthur enough for coming on. And, I do this after every podcast episode, and I'm always going to continue to do that. And that's to send a positive message out for the listeners this week. And listening to Arthur's story, I think there's only one message that could really be said for this week, from this episode. And that's, no matter what you go through in life, there's always going to be some type of obstacle and challenge in our way in life. But always know that no obstacle and challenge is too big to overcome in life. It just isn't. And that's the one thing I've learned from Arthur in the 11 years that I've gotten to know him, is that there may be obstacles thrown at you left and right, but just know that no obstacle is too great or too big to overcome in life. And in life, if you go through those obstacles and you get knocked down by them, meaning if you have to fail multiple times for you to get past those obstacles and challenges, it's okay, because it tells everybody that, hey, you're putting the effort in, you're putting the work in. So you can fall as many times as you want, but as long as you keep getting back up and keep marching toward your path in life, toward your greatness in life, nobody's going to stop you, because there's only one person that can stop you in your life, and that's you. And it's the same thing I tell all students and administrators and advocates that I talk to, in life, is that there's only one person in your life stopping you from doing what you love to do in life, and that's yourself. It's not family, it's not friends, it's you. And Arthur knew that. And I think that's the number one thing I took away from this interview, is that no obstacle is too big or too great to overcome in life. So that's my message for everybody this week. That's to stay positive, know that no obstacle or challenge is too big to overcome in life, and just know that no matter how many times that you fall down, no matter how many times you fail in life, just know that you got to keep getting up, keep getting back up, keep getting back up. It's like the old saying, what do we do when we fall off the horse? We get right back up and just keep on moving. That is my message for you guys this week. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. It's been another great episode. Thanks again to Arthur Ray Jr. for coming on. It was awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will see you on the next episode of the Center Podcast. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you so much.
Anytime you're shortcutting it, you're probably cheating some people. Players play. Tough players win.